It's the Weekly Wrap with your host, broadcasting legend Bruce Wolf, and his trusty sidekick, comedian Tim Slagle. And now, without further ado, Bruce Wolf.
Tim Slagle again, in for Bruce Wolf on the Weekly Wrap. Bruce is not with us. We hope he's feeling better. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not, but it's anyway. I have with me again, filling in my seat. We have star of stage, screen, and TV, the pro summarizer, Mr. Dale Irvin, is with me today.
Good to hear from you again, Tim. And first of all, I think that I want everybody to feel better. That's why we do these shows. We just want you to feel better. So
that's great.
So I'm guessing that my first job today is to guess what background you have. And I think I'm going to go with President Trump's mixed martial arts octagon.
You're close, but I went for the same theme you did.
Okay.
I think in honor of the World Cup being in the United States, we need a memorial to the heroic men of soccer.
and what? And there it is, folks. That is soccer right there.
That is, and you wonder why Americans think it's a girls' sport. Huh?
I summarized it in this week's Friday Funnies as there's red cards and yellow cards and no timeouts, but extra time is added, and there's hydration breaks, which I think are just stupid. And basically, it's a bunch of guys running around the field and very low scoring. So,
do the hydration breaks involve Gatorade, or is that a little too spicy for your average soccer player?
You know, I really don't know, but I think in order to make the game more interesting and possibly slow it down a little bit or make them work harder, they should wear hydration packs on their backs. You get thirsty, you take a sip, but try and drink it all. They can run a little faster, but you'll have to go to the bathroom.
Well, actually, because it's soccer, they could actually carry hydration packs in their hands.
Oh, that's true. You can't use them anyhow. What the heck?
Yeah. I'm wondering why more players don't have beer in their hands.
That's the fans. That's up to the fans.
Anyway, let's get right down to the news. The first item, I guess the one that everyone's thinking about, is that Trump and Vance have signed a secret Iran deal.
Why is it secret? I don't understand that. I mean, what are they doing? That makes it secret.
Signing the same thing Obama signed. That's what the speculation is. And from what I've seen of the agreement, now that it's out, I mean, it was secret when it was out Sunday, but now everyone gets to see it. Is Trump sat down in Versailles to sign it, sit in the palace, the same palace where the Germans surrendered. To sign the Iran mutually understood mutually organized understanding I don't know.
Moolah.
But it's a cow, so it's
well,
the noise the cow makes.
The thing on that secret thing that I really popped into my mind is that he said, they're talking about antes to give back to Iran, money of some sort, and he said, not a dime. And this is a quote: "Not a dime unless they obey themselves." Well, sure, that's a good thing to put in, right? Oh, we promise we'll obey ourselves.
Jeez, sounds just like something your auntie would tell you too. I'll stop hitting you if you behave yourself.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all that shakes out, because they say this is just, to open the Strait of Hormuz and to lead to more talks. So who knows? They're going to stop shooting at each other, I guess, for now.
For 60 days, I believe. It's a 14-point document. It's provisions for opening the Strait of Hormuz.
And they say nothing about the LGBTQ of Hormuz. So, we need a little inclusion besides just the straits.
And they honestly promise that they're going to suspend their nuclear program. Well, of course they are, because, they don't have enough shovels to find it.
And the other thing is that they have to rename the capital of Iran to Trumpistan. So
That'll do it. That might actually do. I didn't see that in the 14 points, but that
it was in small type at the bottom. Yeah.
certainly would have gotten his name on down on the agreement. Uh, meanwhile, terrorism here. Federal prosecutors on Tuesday announced charges against 15 alleged members and associates of two Minneapolis-based Antifa-linked groups. I guess it's more than an idea, huh?
Well, what does Antifa stand for? I really don't know.
I think it's after fascism is or
Oh,
is it
oh, okay. Oh, I see. All right. I thought it was I
following fascism. I think
I got
anti-fascism.
the anti part, and I thought the it was fathers because it's Father's Day coming up. And if you're anti-fathers, good luck to you.
Well, a lot of people are against their fathers, and that's why the prisons are full.
Must be a fun day on Father's Day in the prison. I just can't imagine that.
But apparently, there was this group in Minneapolis called Direct Action Minnesota, a group that prosecutors say organized efforts to disrupt federal immigration enforcement. But we kind of always knew that, didn't we? That I mean, Minneapolis and seems to be the heart of where every protest breaks out now.
Well,
It's
that's because it's the heart of government corruption.
really, really, really. You you're forgetting Chicago, Washington D.C.
We don't have any Somali daycare centers with no kids in them.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. Minnesota didn't. Minnesota, it was all a bunch of Norwegians and Swedes and it's yeah, we're diverse. We have Finnish and we have Swedes and we have Danish and it was all nice and there would be no corruption there. It's why socialism works in the Nordic countries because it's filled with Nordic people. And when the Somalis started coming, they they saw easy pickings. Really? Like nobody checks for corruption here? Bonus.
But in all of the Nordic people that first moved there and settled there, I feeling that they decided, they went there in the winter and they said, this isn't so bad. Let's move here.
Oh my gosh, this is what it's like in summer.
We're in.
And in the winter, we only get 5 hours of sun. We get
I,
none back home.
I have to include my favorite Oli joke here. Oli passed away, and his wife called the paper, says, I want to put in an ad that says, Oli's dead. And they said, well, the minimum is 5 words. She goes, Oli's dead. Tractor for sale.
And apparently it's not just happening here, as anti-capitalist protests have broken out at the G7 summit.
I know, and several of them, got yellow cards, just like, and they set a Tesla on fire, to which everybody said, "It's all right, let it go."
Yeah, are you sure they set a Tesla on fire? Because I understand sometimes them things can spontaneously combust.
Let me just say, a Tesla caught on fire. And, they were standing around it. So I don't know if they claimed it or if it just happened.
Do you remember spontaneous combustion? That was a big thing for a while there.
I always thought that would be a great band name, but nobody ever took it. I thought that would be a very good thing.
Well,
But
that's what would happen to, I think, at least one of the drummers of Spinal Tap that's spontaneously combusted.
Okay.
That was about the time it was hitting the news, and people were saying, yeah, we don't know what's going on here. People are just spontaneously combusting.
But
And
I mean, if you gotta go, that would be a great way to go.
oh man,
Especially at like the
as long
grocery
as you
store
have
or
an
something.
audience.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But actually, what happened? They found out what was happening. This might be a little sick for the afternoon on the radio here at WJOB. But what happened was they found out that the majority of people that were quote unquote spontaneously combusting were smokers and obese.
Wow.
And essentially, what happened was they would kind of they would fall asleep and set their chair on fire. And once their chair started burning, it's you know what happens. You know what happens if you let the bacon grease spill on the outside of the pan with a gas stove, don't you? And yeah, essentially it would burn a hole straight through the next couple floors of the house.
And
And
take a couple days to burn out too. Yeah.
yeah, and they go, what happened? Well, of course, by that point, there's no evidence of what started the fire, so it must have just spontaneously combusted.
Wow. I would like to see that at like the Macy parade or something. Just, all of a sudden, one person, poof, hey, all right.
Well, we do fireworks every 4th of July here at home, and boy, it's we I almost caused a spontaneous combustion because if you put really important, you got to make sure when you're showing the kiddies how to load the mortars that they put that they did the hat goes on the bottom, not on the top. Because if you drop them in with a hat on the top, they just stay there on the ground. But anyway,
Important for the kids today to learn how to load mortars. That's it. You don't need to read, kids. Just learn your basic explosive devices.
and we've got an explosive story coming up in the next segment because we're out of time on this one. So tune in to the next edition of the Weekly Wrap. Tim Slagle in for Bruce Wolf, who is out again this week on the Weekly Wrap. And joining me, of course, is my favorite substitute co-host, which is what I tell all of them, Dale Irvin.
Well, I'm glad I'm right up there with everybody else, so that's important.
So what'd you do this weekend, Dale?
I didn't do anything compared to what I saw around me, because it was Trump's birthday weekend, and to celebrate, I don't believe there was a cake or a candles, but there was a lot of spilled blood because he had his own UFC fight right in front of the White House. He built the octagon, 2 men enter, 1 man leaves, and and he was watching it wearing a suit. I mean,
Well, that's the way it always was. You would go to the fights and you would put on a suit and grab a couple cigars and put on your hat and away you went to the fights. So it's not that unusual.
well, it's
But
unusual to have, the fight itself is just kind of unusual to have that as
yeah.
your birthday party. I'm going to my granddaughter's birthday party Saturday. I don't think there's going to be any fighting, but you never know.
Yeah, well, I guess though you get to do what you want on your birthday, and that's what he wanted to do on the birthday was
What they
see.
should have done is keeping with the theme of the World Cup is instead of those professional martial arts people, put in a couple of dozen of soccer hooligans, from different teams and let them battle it out. That would be a fun thing to watch.
But we don't even know the different teams. All I know is there's one Madrid, and there's that's not from Madrid. And what else? I don't know any of. I don't know
Well,
any of
it's
this
like
stuff.
the Bears are not going to be from Chicago, so same thing.
Yeah, they're gonna be right here in Hammond, just down the road from the
Wow.
WJOB studios. So, yeah, I usually am amused by everything Trump does, but this one makes me a little uncomfortable. This event, it's I don't criticize him for doing it. I don't mind tearing up the South Lawn because he that's probably done every year because, they've got government contracted landscapers. So why put weed killer on it? Let's just haul out the lawn and put in new sod.
Yeah, at taxpayer expense, no doubt.
Yeah, we ain't paying for it. So,
Yeah.
what the heck? We don't like picking the dandelions out of the lawn. Let's just get new sod. So I
Yeah.
don't mind that, but it just seemed rather Roman to me.
Very unusual, and I really I'm at a loss for words as to what this would be like. But if we're gonna bring back the gladiator days, then so be it.
Oh, let's
Instead
do
of
it
a
for real
ballroom,
though.
build a coliseum.
Yeah, let's do it for real though. Let's get some lions and Antifa protesters.
What about your thoughts on the
It's-
one fighter exclaiming that Michelle Obama was a man afterwards? Just
Oh
to
yeah,
get
we have
off on a
to.
subject on this show.
That cracked me up. It kind of seemed out of place. And somebody pointed out, is it any worse to call Michelle Obama a man than it is to call President Trump a pedophile? I mean, there's as much evidence of both being true. So, I mean, is it
There's
Or they
evidence
call
of her being a man. Does she
what?
have a wiener?
You didn't you haven't heard this? You're obviously not listening to the show you're on because
Well, I
almost
didn't know
every
there was a
almost every
reason that he said she's a man. I just thought he said that just to rag on her. I didn't know that there was any backup to it.
no, oh, there's a conspiracy is that
Oh,
apparently
okay. Okay.
apparently yeah. Apparently her dad never had any daughters, but he did have a son named Michael that kind of disappeared.
Ah.
Uh, uh,
And they suspected something because somebody saw her in the ladies' washroom standing up in the toilet. And
well, there's also I'm
the
guessing I'm guessing Chris probably has a picture reloaded ready to go here. But there's also been pictures of her in tight-fitting dresses where it looked like the duct tape gave way.
Wow.
And there's
Wow.
and there's video of her dancing on the Ellen DeGeneres show where where something's jingling where it shouldn't be in the trousers where it shouldn't be. So it's
Yeah. That sounds like junk to me.
and then now there's the yeah
She is.
there's the Ellen
Oh,
dance right there.
yeah, it's kind of
Look at
grabbing it, like the
yeah, she's
rappers
trying
do.
to tape it back. And the big conspiracy is that when Joan Rivers came out and said that we all know that Michelle's a tranny, right? She died like a week later. So that one goes beyond my conspiracy theory. That one seemed a little.
Then where would the daughters have come from?
Surrogates. Apparently there's no pictures of the I know too much about this conspiracy. Apparently there's no picture. There's one picture of Michelle Obama pregnant and she has 6 fingers. So there's no verifiable picture of a pregnant Michelle Obama.
Why didn't the guy just came out and say Michelle Obama has 6 fingers?
It's probably probably the same person
Yeah.
that Pete Buttigieg got his twins from. So that's anyway. And what I always say is, like there's something wrong with it. If a man who becomes a trans woman is a woman, and there's no question about that, is it an insult to say that a woman is trans?
I really don't know. I have no idea. The whole thing just confuses me. I'm of the school where you play the cards you're dealt, and when you go in fooling around with nature, it just irritates me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Jack, a queen, a king, all scores the same in blackjack. So
Exactly. Exactly.
it's anyway. Moving forward is that there was a counter protest to the UFC event, and I don't know if you saw this. Maybe you were watching this instead of the fight. There, Dale. Is hosted by Jane Fonda, who brought
And
in
Bette Midler too.
and Bette Midler and a bunch of old senior citizen women. Robert De Niro. Also, I don't. I used to like Robert De Niro. I cannot watch him anymore.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
He is so tarnished his brand that I find any Robert De Niro movie unwatchable, and that's too bad because he was in some good ones.
Yeah,
Uh,
if he had stuck to acting, just like
yeah.
I saw Bette Midler in concert. This was back, I forget what year, but it's when McCain was running with Sarah Palin, and she in the middle of her set, she just takes off and does like 10 minutes against Sarah Palin. I'm thinking, people did not pay to hear this. They heard to hear you sing. Just get back to singing.
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
But
It
you know
really,
who they won't have at that or didn't have rather at that anti protest was the real musician Milli Vanilli. They said, no, we're not going there. We're
yeah, yeah,
staying
we're
right
not.
where we are.
We don't want any stars from the '90s. We're stopping. We're stopping at 1989. They did it. They did invite ex-NBC, MSNBC host Joy Reid to come in. Uh, why? Well, probably someone said, "Have you noticed that you're all white? We're the party that's not supposed to do that." Anyway, what else do we? Oh, that's it. That's all the three stories for this segment. We got
You
some.
think? What about the prediction betting
Oh, the
on
bomb.
Trump's
That's coming
impeachment?
up. That's coming up. That's coming up. That's coming up in the next segment. What,
That's
Chris?
a teaser.
Reporting of the bombing at the UFC event. You didn't talk about.
Oh, we didn't mention. Boy, we didn't mention the bombing.
No.
Wow. Wow. There's so many bombs going off all over there that I thought we covered that one already. Yeah. Is that apparently much in the same vein as the Las Vegas Mandalay Bay shooting, a bunch of kids we're gonna try to bomb the UFC
Oh
event.
yeah, by drones. They were going to bomb it by drones and then take over the White House with guns. And I'm thinking, what happened to just toilet papering somebody? Just to show them you don't agree with them.
That's this one was kind of scary because it would have worked. I could,
Yeah.
as you blow off bombs on one end and then people run into the sniper fire. I don't know how far it got. You never know. It might be like it might have all been organized by FBI agents like the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping. And they got a bunch of dumb kids to say, "Oh, okay, I'll do that."
Well, the way they broke it up was one kid's mother called them and said, I think my son is up to something no good and you should check it out. But one kid's mother is the one that blew the whistle.
Yeah, this one was really no good. I mean, this wasn't just, yeah, my son is I think he's selling pot. This one, no, my son is planning a mass murder bigger than September 11th. I think you might want
That
to,
got their attention. Yeah.
yeah, you might want to check into that. And of course, this one was dropped from the news coverage. It went down quicker than a soccer player. Uh, because at first they said, we caught some terrorists and they're Trump supporters. Really? No. It's these ones are on your side. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Anyway, that wraps up the UFC coverage. We're gonna get into the prediction market next segment on the weekly wrap. Tim Slagle in for Bruce Wolf on the weekly wrap. Bruce is still not with us this week. And again, I've invited my co-host from Another Day Above Ground podcast, available on wherever you get your podcast. Mr. Dale Irvin is with me.
Yes, sir. Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
It's yeah, a little plug here for our show. If you guys enjoy listening to the two of us joke about the news, you can hear us joke about other things on Another Day Above Ground at anotherdayaboveground.com or Another Day Above Ground show com. And oh my gosh, Chris is showing the website there,
Wow.
and there's a kid that looks like me.
It's a picture of me with hair.
Yeah, another day below your hair. But anyway, it's a show for baby boomers. It's a podcast for people who have no idea how to download a podcast. And check it out. We've been doing it for 7 years now. We're up to 320 episodes, I think now. So,
And our only goal, knowing that baby boomers, among other people, main concern is pain because everything hurts. And one of the ways to help alleviate pain is through laughter. So we spend each week 30 minutes just making you laugh. So it's well worth your investment of time.
and back to speaking of investments, Donald Trump spent $13.1 million fixing the reflecting pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial. And it was supposed to prevent algae. He was supposed to be a beautiful American flag blue color, which isn't a good idea for something that's out in the sun.
Well, and the water now turned green, apparently, from the algae. But if you put clear water on top of a blue pool, and what could make it turn green? Possibly the color yellow. So you figure it out. I think people were peeing in the pool.
That's a good possibility. But they've been fighting algae, I think, since they built this thing back in 100 years ago, over 100 years ago. They've been had a problem with algae. It's just a simple engineering problem, okay? 330,000 gallons or 330,000 square feet, 2 feet deep, no shade, stagnant water equals algae. I mean, there's no if you don't want algae, you gotta paint the bottom turquoise and fill it with chlorine.
There you go. There you go.
Um,
And interesting, algae is what the staffers used to call Mr. Gore. It's kind of a nickname. Algae.
uh, on that note, there's we have another incident. There's just terror instances all over. I don't know if you saw this. Is that somebody burned a cross in Grant Park?
Here's the interesting thing is they caught the guy that did it and charged him with whatever, and he said he had absolutely no idea who the Ku Klux Klan was. Never heard of him. Just decided on a cross with a red hat because he didn't like Trump.
He
But he
thought
never heard of the KKK.
no, he thought it was a puppet show with Fran and Ollie.
he, 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 he thought
That's a
there was
that's a
he,
joke. That's a joke, by the way, for the baby boomers. I don't know if any younger listeners know what Ku Klux Klan and Ollie is.
and he thought KKK was a chicken place, but they said no, that's KFC. There it is. There's the burning cross and the red hat is on fire there. And that's just, and he leaned it up against a tree. That whole tree could have gone up. The guy's just a doofus.
And once again, it was a big news story till they found out the guy burned a cross to protest Trump.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it the probably sponsored by the Southern Poverty Jesse Smollett Center. Anyway, it's Friday. We're taping this the night before, but it's Friday, and the Obama Center opened last night.
It was like, I wasn't there. I just know what I've seen and heard, but it was on TV all day long. They just had all these speakers and celebrities, and then they had all the different acts. They must have about 30 different musical acts that are going up. And, I
Yeah, once
gotta.
again, Bruce Springsteen, Stevie Wonder, Christina Aguilera, and Bono. It's once again, they can't get any acts from this century. It's again, so we're not going to get the acts from the 80s. We'll get them from the 90s for this.
When he was president, that's what we'll go for. Yeah. But apparently it's a huge place. I'd call it a monolith. I believe architecturally it's a very disturbingly ugly building. I don't like the structure of it, but inside is supposed to be all kinds of cool stuff, including a full basketball court, because that's what every presidential library needs is a full basketball court.
No books, but a basketball court. That's boy, that's kind of says a lot right there, doesn't it? It's
I've been to two presidential libraries. Was where or one was where Richard Nixon is buried. Actually, had a corporate meeting out there where Richard Nixon is buried, and it had some nice stuff and souvenirs of his and stuff. And the other one was in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I went to the Gerald Ford Library. It featured a desk, couple of books,
both colored in. That's the old pop-up
yeah.
joke.
And, I think a pair of his shoes and stuff. It took 15 minutes to go through that one. So, but yeah, this thing looks amazing. Oh, that's a picture now of the basketball court only right there. And so
It
yeah,
was
so
opened. It was opened. Opening statement was given by Valerie Jarrett.
ah,
And you know how she opened opened it
with a poem.
with a land acknowledgement.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's we'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the original inhabitants of this land upon which we are gathered today, Jared said. We honor the Anishinaabe, the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi nations.
And the guy
Actually, the
that's
original inhabitants of the land was the city of Chicago. It was a park. It's yes, the land was stolen from the citizens of Chicago. 20 acres of prime lakefront parkland just given away, taken from the taxpayers and given to the Obama Foundation. And
yeah, amazing.
that was not mentioned in the land acknowledgement.
No, no. But
And,
at least they acknowledge that, they stole it. So that's good.
yeah, just not from whom.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. Okay, it's a big part of the the center is public space. It's like, oh, isn't that nice? He created public space on public space.
And now it's charging $30 to get in and see the public space on public space.
Exactly. It was free public space, and now it's $30 cover charge, plus you have to show your ID and walk through a metal detector.
Tim, quick question. Since Roseanne got in such trouble for calling Valerie Jarrett a certain thing, can you tell she's black if you didn't really know?
I did not. I'm with Roseanne. I did not know she was black either. And I could have. It could have been me that stuck my foot in my. And in fact, of course, Roseanne's been on the Ozempic, so she can now stick her foot in her mouth much easier than I can.
And eat it.
No, that's what she said. That's what she said. I had no idea she was black, which is really interesting. You can make a Planet of the Apes. I can make a Planet of the Apes joke about Dale, and no one's really going to get upset about it. But I make it about a former president, and holy cow!
There you go. There you go. Everybody looks at things differently.
Anyway, moving on is I don't know if you spend any time in the prediction markets, Dale.
I've seen them and I've read about them and how people are using them to rig things and stuff. But I'm not a gambling person myself, so I've never used it.
How are they using them to rig things?
Who did I hear? Soros or somebody? There was a bet as to whether or not he would go to one of the events, and he bet heavily that he would not, and then just decided not to
Oh,
go. So,
oh,
yeah.
oh, wow. That's yeah. Now that I think about it, yeah, there was that guy that jumped on the field at the Super Bowl.
Right,
If you remember
right.
that he bet that somebody would, and it was like a $15,000 fine for jumping on the field at the Super Bowl, and he made like 150,000 on the
Yep.
predictions market. Did they pay him? Did anyone know if they paid him?
I don't know, but I would imagine they kind of
Uh,
had to, I would think. I don't know.
and here's what's going on in the prediction market right now. There's a 60% chance that Trump is going to be impeached.
For a third time.
Yeah,
I
and
would take the over under on this because you never know how many more times he's in for 2 more years. So this would only be the third time. So
you gotta go for the fourth.
uh,
It's only 60%. It's I don't know what the odds are of the House taking over of the Democrats taking over the House. I guarantee if the Democrats win the House, it's 100%. There is
on
no
what grounds? On what
what
grounds? This time.
grounds
This
grounds.
time.
We don't need no stinking grounds.
We're
On
not a coffee factory. We don't need no grounds.
yeah, yeah, on coffee grounds. That's right. We're impeaching him on coffee grounds. And, Anyway, we got lots more stories, so stay tuned for the next segment after the break. Tim Slagle, Dale Irvin on the Weekly Wrap. Tim Slagle in for Bruce Wolf here on the Weekly Wrap. With me, my co-host sitting in my chair today, my partner from the Another Day Above Ground podcast, Mr. Dale Irvin, is with
Good
me.
to be here. Thank you very much to all you folks. Thanks for listening. This is all the news you really need to know. You know.
And this one though, this one is really interesting because my dad was God rest his soul was telling me for years that they were not allowed to climb that mountain because because the Muslims didn't want them to find what the Christians knew was up there on Mount Arafat in Turkey, and that is the final resting place of Noah's Ark.
Wow. Christians and Jews, because it was an Old Testament story. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. But yeah, we know it's up there. Why waste the money?
that's why I can't believe it took them this long to find. They knew all along where it was, and I
Yeah.
can't believe that it took them this long. And now they finally think that they found it. I don't know if there's anything on the inside. There might be like petrified mammoth poop or something in there, which
Yeah,
could be worthy of something.
yeah, there's probably a foul smell in there. I guarantee. I guarantee that 4,000 years does not clear out that aroma. For those of you unfamiliar with the story, is that Noah and his family took animals two by two, just two of each species on Earth into this ark he had built, and then it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. And when he got out after the rain subsided, the first thing he did was make a sacrifice unto the Lord. And the second thing he did was go, whoops. I never really liked unicorns anyway.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why there's none around.
And then he wrote an Irish Rover song to kind of cover for it. It's like, no, it wasn't me, man. Had nothing to do with that burnt offering. No. No, they were playing in the rain and they didn't get aboard.
I always thought that they got aboard and then they found out that the male unicorn had ED, and that's why they went extinct, because they couldn't have any babies.
Well, you know what happened? You know what happened on the after, according to if you actually read the whole story, after they landed, they built a tent, and his daughters got him drunk, and and slept with him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's the part they don't include in the children's play sets. Oh yeah, really cute. Two of each animal going into stuffed animal going into the big boat. But don't build the tent because you don't want kids. Your kids don't want to hear what happened there. So it's they're going up there. They think they know where it is. It's looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to the gift shop. Get real pieces of Noah's Ark. That could be a nice souvenir keychain.
So well, they could actually just move the gift shop from the one in Kentucky. But,
That's right. The guy made one in Kentucky that's supposed to be the real Noah's Ark, but
well, no, it's a replica.
Replica, right?
He built an actual replica.
But I mean real dimensions.
Yeah, and that one leaks apparently. So.
It's on dry ground.
Apparently, he didn't really know. He didn't know how to build an ark. Wasn't ready for the 40 days and 40 nights. Anyway, we're having fun here. I got a real sad thing to bring up. It's probably one of the best known guys in the comedy community. A legend, a former opening act for Frank Sinatra, and a guy. Another show I did with Chris. We got to interview him in Gibson Steakhouse. Mr. Tom Dreesen has crossed the bridge.
We've talked to him on Another Day Above Ground too.
That is true. Yeah. And he wanted to do another show. He kept bugging us. Remember?
Right.
Whoops.
Apparently, we dropped something.
So glad we got him while he was above ground for the show. Just a really a good guy, good guy, stand-up comedian. You rarely see those things in a sentence together.
Yeah. And he was clean and he was good and a nice guy, and that doesn't come together that much in the comedy world.
He loved comedy. He'd actually just pop into clubs, and he would do for like kids. He had seminars for guys just starting out in the business to try to explain to them, what he learned. And I'd say he will be missed. If I get half the nice things that people are saying about him online when I pass away, I'll be lucky.
No, you won't. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'll get a lot of Tim Who.
But a lot of people may not realize he had the very first mixed race comedy team. He teamed up with Tim Reed, who they were Tim and Tom, and they played all over. And Tim Reed later went on to become Venus Flytrap on WKRP in Cincinnati. So.
No, I was going to say he was on Barney Miller, but I guess he wasn't, was he?
No, it was Venus Fly, except unless Venus Flytrap got arrested, and that might have been an episode on Barney Miller. There they are in their early days. Yeah.
So he told great stories about having to do that. Is that they had a hard time in the white clubs. They did not have such a hard time in the black clubs.
Right.
Back then.
Right.
I think it might be. Well, do we even have black? Yeah, I guess there are. There still are black. They're called urban comedy clubs.
Right.
And it's much like there was two sections of music there was R&B and rock and roll in the record stores. Kids. There's also as far as comedy. It's definitely it's a different rhythm, and there are urban clubs and non-urban clubs. Even non-urban clubs in urban areas, but
I did one of those once, and
which one?
It wasn't here. It was somewhere.
Uh-huh.
I think it might have been in Ohio or somewhere.
Yeah, there was something called the Chitlin Circuit that that does not exist anymore. It was formed in a time when it was segregated, and that would be the one that Tim and Tom probably worked at.
Right. But I said, is it just me or am I kind of different? And I appreciate a few people laugh so I can see y'all. But,
ow.
They liked it.
Yeah, well, that's one of those lines that they think is funny, that
Yeah.
they might think is funny, but white people are like, oh,
Yeah, I can't believe he said that.
geez, I don't think we should laugh at that.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to other things. I don't know if you know, I think it's January 20th here, but it already happened in London, is the World Naked Bike Ride.
And I
Are you
don't understand the concept behind that. I mean, it's not like it's more comfortable, you know.
I never quite understood it either. I always thought that maybe that I should participate and use one of those divvy bikes. I think is that what they're called, and put it back on the rack in front of everybody, so no one ever wants to rent a divvy bike again. But I did actually, because I was curious, because they were doing the every Friday at 5 o'clock, they would do a bike ride. Are you familiar with these? It
No.
was it was it was back in the 90s when there was a big push that people thought bicycles could save the world. And what they decided to do, they would have a friendly bike ride every Friday at 5 o'clock from downtown on public streets.
Naked?
Uh, no, no, no,
Oh.
no. They gave me a flyer. They said if you want to join the naked bike ride, you can. It was just like secret. There was no internet there. It was just, there was no secret rooms or anything where you could pass it. They would actually do flyers at the other bike rides.
Hmm.
And but no, this was a fully dressed one. But the idea was, of course, to mess up traffic. They believed if they messed up, I forget what they called the group, but if they messed up traffic enough for long enough that people would, on Fridays, everyone would ride a bike to work.
Yeah,
And
that's going to happen,
yeah.
you know. And why a naked bike ride? I'd like to see something like maybe a naked barbecue or a naked bacon frying contest. You know, that could add some excitement.
You don't barbecue naked?
Not since I got new neighbors.
Well, people thought I was barbecuing naked, but no, I was wearing a Speedo. Just couldn't see it. And finally, the final story. Before we get to the final story, Dale, if people want to know more about you, where do they go?
You can go to my website, Dale Irvin. That's IRVIN, daleirvin.com. And on there, you'll find a lot of stuff, but press the button for Friday Funnies, because every Friday I produce there it is, at Friday Funnies, I produce a 5-minute video and a corresponding written piece about really, really odd news stories. And so after you listen to this, you can listen to that and learn something with a slightly different point of view. It's all free. All you do is put in your email. I don't sell them. I don't even look at them. And it's my way of giving back.
There you go. And final story of the evening. We started with the World Cup. We're finishing with the World Cup. Is apparently the Scottish people who are staying in Boston drank all the beer.
Well, they haven't been in the World Cup for 28 years. They were very excited to be there, and when they won, they went crazy and yes, drank the city of Boston dry.
And
They were
remember
saying
that Boston has a lot of Irish, so that's a feat.
they were saying it was 2 to 3 times more than St. Patrick's Day. So the Scots can outdrink the Irish. I'll tell you that. That's good.
There you go. And that pretty much does it for this episode. Thanks a lot for listening. Hit subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. That's it for Tim Slagle, Dale Irvin in for Bruce Wolf. I hope he'll be back next week on The Weekly Wrap.
And that's The Weekly Wrap on radio and television. Follow Bruce at Bruce Wolf Shy on Twitter and Tim at timslagle.com. The Weekly Wrap with Bruce Wolf, a CP Pods production.